Friend indeed is a friend indeed. Full house. Let's go ahead and look at us for Wales.
Everyone, please come. We're about to start. You see, standing before you, a very reluctant speaker. I had arranged everything this weekend so that I wouldn't have to do anything. So I would just be the host, and I would welcome everyone, and I would sit back and enjoy the whole weekend. Then Swami Chaitanandaji fell ill. He was really supposed to speak this morning. So Swami Sarvadevanandaji took over for him. And in place of Swami Sarvadevanandaji on the panel, Swami Brahmarupanandaji was supposed to speak. Then he fell ill. Yeah. And now I've been asking everyone to fill in for me, and no one will agree. So now it's up to me. So I asked him, Maharaj, you can request him, but with all great respect and humility, he said no. So reluctant and unprepared, but I have a few little ideas. So I'll say a few things, and hopefully it'll be something a little bit out of the ordinary or interesting, and there'll be questions. So everyone remembers the format, that the speakers will speak for roughly 20 minutes. There'll be question and answer. You can ask specific questions for anyone, or we can all take turns answering, or we can decide who wants to answer. And yesterday the topic, we divided it, of course, among Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and Swamiji. Yesterday was a kind of the foundation, look to the past and everything. Today is a look to the future. So how we can take advantage of these divine personalities and these divine teachings, and how we can really make this very strong movement in this country also. Sometimes we fool ourselves a little bit into thinking how great we are. That really, if we look around and we look at some of these other groups and some of the other gurus and everything, we're rather small. We haven't made that great success that I think we should have made, given the tremendous quality of these divine personalities. Where will we find another Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swamiji, and all of the direct disciples? We had that question yesterday about this Avatar Varishta. One other element to this is if we look at the disciples of all of these other great souls that came, where will we find a collection of those who came along with Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother? It's really astounding. I remember reading somewhere that if any one of the direct disciples had come alone, any one of them could have been a founder of a great religious movement. Each one was so great. So we have to sometimes ask ourselves, why have we remained a little bit of a niche movement? Why haven't we expanded even more? We can say that, yes, beneath the surface, Vedanta is expanding and other groups are picking up our ideas and everything. But many of our centers, more or less the same as 50 years, 100 years ago. We haven't really, and most of the expansion, look at our center, and this is not a good thing or a bad thing, but most of it are those who were devotees from India who have come. So how do we reach the new people? And is there something that we can do? So this, I thought, would be a little bit of some of the ideas that I would throw out today. We have become a little bit top-heavy in Jnana Yoga. This is my first controversial statement that I'll make. That some of the best speakers of our order, and God bless them, they've reached so many people. You all know about our young, vibrant speakers, and Sharada Math also has their own, that they've done tremendous contribution in making Vedanta known and everything. But are we really, we don't want to become a cult, but are we really keeping Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and Swamiji, the personality is at the center of everything. That's the glue for me. Otherwise, we heard from Swami Tattvamananji yesterday, many of these ideas, the harmony of different yogas, are there in the past. Not that Thakur taught anything so radically new. What was unique was his life and his spiritual power and the spiritual practices that he did, his ability to raise the spiritual consciousness, which he did through Swamiji and leaving Holy Mother as the example. So somehow I feel that without trying to become a cult, that we have to really make sure that this personality of Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother and Swamiji and everything, that they remain really the attracting point. And when we consider how Sri Ramakrishna attracts people, we always say he'll bring his own people. We have this way of pushing everything away from ourselves and onto Sri Ramakrishna. The main way, generally, that people discover Sri Ramakrishna is through the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna in English, this Kotamrita in Bengali. And this is a great blessing that we have these books, that we've never had any spiritual figure, whether we say avatar or prophet or founder of a religion, we've never had one whose words were so faithfully recorded as we have with Sri Ramakrishna. But we have a problem. The problem is Kamini Kanchan. For me, and I'll give an example. In my own family, I have 3 nieces and 4 grand nieces, all interested in spiritual life. I would really hesitate to give them a copy of the English translation of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, because as soon as they read all this woman in gold, they'll shut the book. Seriously. Yeah. Now, I want to say something about the translation in general. I think Swami Nikhilanandaji did a masterful job. Really, how he captured the spirit and everything of Sri Ramakrishna, he did a masterful job. But it was so many years ago. And I really think that we have to come up to the modern age a little bit with some, first of all, gender-neutral language, and then do something about this woman in gold. Now, there's a very nice footnote explaining why Thakur used that term, but people read it, they'll forget it, they'll keep saying again and again, woman in gold, woman in gold. So I think this has to be tackled, this issue. Now, I'm nobody, and no one will listen to me, but just speaking openly and honestly, because I have a free pass. I wasn't supposed to speak, so I can kind of say whatever I want. And certain sections of the gospel in English should just be eliminated. We have our gospel class. You all know that, Friday night gospel class. Sometimes we'll get to a section, I'll just skip it. They're only meant for monks or only meant for men, which is fine, because Thakur was talking to future monks and was talking to men. But if this is something to bring everyone together, we have to be very cautious. Now, people will say that we can't just willy-nilly throw out things, but M himself picked some things and left some things out. It's not that he recorded everything that he heard. It took him 5 different times to come out with 5 different volumes. Each time he himself edited. He picked the things that he thought were important. We already have an abridged version of the gospel, so we simply have another version, and we explain in the foreword that a few things have been left out. If anyone's interested, they can find. And we've been a little bit free with the translation of a few terms of this Kamini Kanchan. Even Swamiji himself, our Khandana, is Kama Kanchan. Even in the Bengali, he was very aware that this is really the spirit of it, and people will accept it better. So this is one thing that I thought I would mention, because I think it's very important if we want to attract new people, especially Westerners and especially Western women, that this is something that really I think can hold us back a little bit. And it's a shame, because Thakur, he had such a reverence for women, and it can be so misunderstood just by a turn of a phrase. So anyhow, this is the one thing that I wanted to start with. And again, with this Jnana Yoga business, I love Jnana Yoga, don't get me wrong. I love it. But what did Sri Ramakrishna say? Kolite narodiya bhakti. He put so much emphasis on this, sometimes we forget in this present age that the most important path is the path of devotion. Now, his, of course, was a devotion based on knowledge. We've heard already, we know about this Jnana Bhakti, and this is very, very important. That the devotion that Thakur talked about, whether we say, according to Narada, it doesn't matter, was grounded on this idea of oneness. There was a very nice expression that was used by Swami Parameshanandaji. He said that we're Advaitavadins, but Dvaitakarans. Very interesting statement. That philosophically, yes, we accept this idea of oneness, but in practice, that we accept this idea of relationship. We heard about this a little bit yesterday, this idea of bhava, why it's so important, but superimposed on this idea of oneness. It's not that the bhakti yoga of the dualist, the bhakti yoga of someone who sees that Nitya and Leela is both real. These are very, very important ideas that I think really represent the specialty of this movement. But again, what is really the main thing, how the personality, this divine personality of Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother especially, all the direct disciples, Swamiji, of course, how that personality is the thing that really can revolutionize the world. Whether we care very much for Dvaita Vedanta and Vishishta Dvaita Vedanta, any of the different schools or philosophy or anything, just that pure life and dedicated to the welfare of the whole world, that to me, that we can't forget that has to be the center of the spiritual movement that we have. Okay, this is one thing. Okay, then, continue. Okay. Since this is my free time and I'm speaking openly, I think that our centers have to somehow become more open. I don't want to say this is a criticism of any other center or anything like that, but we become a little bit too ingrained somehow, a little bit narrow. Our main teaching is how wide and open and liberal we are, but somehow we have to be reach out into the community somehow to make ourselves known a little bit better. And the last point I want to make is that this idea of social service. Now, we heard for years and years and years that Swami Vivekananda said, no, in this country, that's not the need. That's the need in India, not in this country. In this country, the need is preaching and bringing the ideas of Vedanta to people. Now, Swami Vivekananda, in my view, would have been the first one to say, times have changed. We're stuck in thinking that his 19th century thinking was the beginning and the end of everything. He would have immediately said, yes, that need is here and it's very important. Now, is this only Swamiji? We also heard earlier that Sri Ramakrishna was the main source for Swamiji's ideas about worshipping God dwelling within all human beings. It was Sri Ramakrishna. Swamiji has a beautiful letter where he talks about this worshipping God dwelling in all human beings. He said, I learned this through the grace of my Guru, Sri Ramakrishna. And we always point to three teachings of Chaitanya Deva, that Name Ruchi, all of that, and to have compassion, Jiva Daya, to have passion for all living beings. But what I think is equally important, and we're reading this in our gospel class now, was after Thakur broke his arm. Then, what did he say? Now I believe Divine Mother is telling me that highest type of worship is this Nara Lila, to see God dwelling in all beings. And he always would quote his Vaishnav Charan. Vaishnav Charan used to tell me this is the final word. I didn't believe him before, now I believe him. That is right. So this was Swamiji, what Swamiji got from Sri Ramakrishna, that break all other idols. Now, we're not going to break any idols, but for him, the highest type of worship was through social service. For many, many years in this country, we all said it's not necessary or it can't be done. Now, we've also been a bit of a failure. We tried very hard. We started a free clinic, then the pandemic came. But the point is that it can be done. It's not so difficult. Many of our centers do some type of social service work. But to me, this will attract new people. It'll make us better known in the community. And people will see that we're not just dry intellectuals. That Thakur has put a little bit of love and compassion in our hearts so that we can reach out to other people. So when I look towards the future, I see that we can't simply keep saying Thakur will bring people. He'll bring his own people. We have to do a little bit of soul searching and see, is there something that we can do as leaders of this movement, whether it's the monks or whether it's the devotees, to somehow bring this soothing balm of Vedanta to this world that is in such a great need for it. I don't see any other tradition. This is my fanaticism. I don't see any other tradition that can come anywhere near the beauty of what we have here. And again, I take it back mostly to the personalities, these divine personalities, how sweet and attractive their natures are. So I will stop here, and I will invite next. I will invite Pravrajika Shuddhatma Pranaji to speak on Holy Mother. And then after that, we'll have Swami Nirmalatmananji. Raj, he'll speak on Swamiji. Shuddhatma Pranaji has been helping to look after the Vivekananda retreat at Ridgely for a number of years now. And a very dear friend of ours who had very long association with Swami Satprakashanandaji in St. Louis, and also with Swami Lokeshwaranandaji in the Institute of Culture. So we're very happy that you could come with us also. Mataji. Yeah, we've changed the format a little bit. Afterwards, the three of us will sit there. Yeah.
I was going to say after Swami Sarvadevananda spoke yesterday and today, well, he's finished my talk. You could just listen to the recordings. But now Gyanananda has added something else for my talk. So I'll just put more emphasis on it then. Okay, those of us associated with the Ramakrishna mission now are living at a very important time in the history of this organization. As Swami Ishatmanandaji said yesterday, the mission is still in its infancy. Christ passed away 2,000 years ago, and his power is still spreading. And the same with Buddha. Yet Ramakrishna passed away only 137 years ago. His power is still so fresh. Moreover, many of us here have been able to associate with the disciples of Holy Mother or disciples of Ramakrishna's disciples, and we have witnessed with our own eyes the extraordinary ideals that these holy people have imbibed from their gurus. Now, many new devotees are coming who have read about the lives of Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swamiji, and the other disciples. Perhaps reading about their lives, these new devotees are full of enthusiasm and idealism, and they are now looking to us, monastics and devotees both. It's our responsibility now. If we want to look at the future, then we have to look at where we are now, monastics and devotees both. Ramakrishna told his disciples, I have done 16 parts. Now you do 1/16 part. Now you do one part, that is. Well, that's a tremendous amount. And now if the disciples of these disciples did 1/16 part of their guru's part, then that's still a wonderful amount. But if we in turn do 1/16 part of our guru's part, or even less, now things are starting to go down. So here we'll look at a couple ideals that we find in Holy Mother's life and see how we can be inspired by these. These ideals are not different from Ramakrishna, but Holy Mother put her own stamp on them. And for that reason, I'm using a little slightly different terminology too. It's inspired by Holy Mother. One thing we notice, though, while looking at Holy Mother's life, is that this is a very different time and place from hers. And circumstances, too, are totally different. For women especially, things have changed dramatically. Yet there are some ideals that never change. Though we cannot do what she did, and her life will inspire us in various ways to move forward in our spiritual life, not only for our own sake, but also for the sake of people in the future. First, all the monastics and devotees during Holy Mother's lifetime could see in her life that she was totally absorbed in God. There was no doubt in anyone's mind that she lived and breathed God realization. In fact, they knew her as the Divine Mother in human form. Yet, she continued doing spiritual practices throughout her life, and she even performed the very difficult Panchatapa Vrata in the month of May. and she, though she did not need to do these for her own welfare, or for herself, she did them for the disciples who were burdened with worldly duties. So this is what she showed us. For the devotees of her day, for the devotees of now, and for those in the future, God realization or self-realization needs to be the goal of our life. Otherwise, there's no peace of mind. As the Upanishad says, Nalpe sukhamasti, bhumaiva sukham. There's no happiness in the finite. In the infinite alone, there is bliss. This does not change and will never change. We have to make God realization or self-realization the one goal of our life. We have to continue our spiritual practices steadfastly and sincerely with this aim in mind, that we must attain that goal. We should keep in mind that Vedanta is an experiential religion. Actually, all religions are experiential. But again and again, we see over and over that the spirit of mysticism and struggle gradually decline in religious traditions over time. And then they take on a this world approach. That is, we go to the church or the mosque, synagogue, or temple once a week, say our prayers, and then go back home to our own lives. But the Ramakrishna Vivekananda Vedanta tradition we are associated with is so fresh. Ramakrishna's life and experiences are still alive today in the subtle atmosphere, and so are Holy Mother's. If we just take one step, as Ramakrishna said, God will come to 10 steps to us or more. And the beauty of Holy Mother's life is that she showed us the intimacy of spiritual experiences. She was the Divine Mother to all her disciples and devotees, and she wanted all of us to know her as that. She wanted us to know that God takes on a relationship with all of his or her devotees, just as devotees can take on a relationship with God. She wanted us to understand that we can, through her and through Ramakrishna, experience God in our very own life. So the Vedanta centers in the West, and particularly the monastic and lay devotees, have a responsibility to show that God realization is not meant for just a few people who lived long ago. Uncle Moon is everyone's uncle, as Ramakrishna said. It is our duty to keep up the mystical and experiential nature of the Ramakrishna mission. Otherwise, Vedanta too will just become a Sunday religion. And how do we live and work in this difficult world with this in mind? We should remember that because Vedanta is an experiential religion, it is also a life-transforming religion. So we must see that this transformation actually takes place in our lives and behavior. And we can do this by continually looking at Holy Mother's life as our ideal. Swami Satprakashananda used to tell us about how when he was a young student in Dhaka, he and his friends held regular meetings of the Ramakrishna Association there. He would read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and then they would sing bhajans. At some point, some disciples of Holy Mother started coming to the meetings. They had been transferred from Calcutta to Dhaka in their jobs. Swami Satprakashananda said he immediately realized these people were different. He understood then what a true disciple of the Ramakrishna mission was. They walked the talk. They had been transformed. In so many ways, Holy Mother showed us through her own life how to transform our lives. There is one verse in the Gita that I feel is particularly appropriate to describe her. One by whom the world is not agitated, and who cannot be agitated by the world, who is free from joy, envy, fear, and anxiety. That one is dear to me. This ideal never changes with time, place, or circumstances. And in connection with this, we can look at Holy Mother's desirelessness, as without desires, we cannot be agitated. Like Ramakrishna, she was the embodiment of desirelessness. Though, as the wife of great saints, she could have lived in luxury, yet she preferred to live a simple life in a poor village in West Bengal. Okay, obviously, we cannot get there. This is a different time. Nowadays, and especially for people who have jobs and family responsibilities, there are certain requirements that cannot possibly be ignored. What do we do then? We live with contentment. That itself is an austerity. As Swami Sarvadevananda mentioned this morning, we reduce our wants to needs. But, okay, maybe your kids are growing and eating you out of house and home. It's okay, you can get a bigger refrigerator or 2 refrigerators. Or you need a computer and an iPhone for everyone in the family. It's okay, whatever works, whatever brings contentment in the house without the frivolous luxury. The main thing for us is to keep the Lord as the center of our life. This itself will bring contentment. In this way, we will not agitate the world, and the world will not agitate us. But I think if we want to look towards the future, and especially to the future of Vedanta in the West, we need to focus especially on Mother's love and acceptance of everyone. Her attitude of a mother to all, I think, is the most important thing in her life for us to focus on. Holy Mother made it very clear there was no discrimination in her love. Just as Swami Swahananda was her son, so also was the Muslim robber Amzad. And so also was the so-called untouchable couple who rescued her when she was left stranded. Just as the people of India were her children, so also were the British and everyone else. One of the most amazing stories about Holy Mother, I believe, makes this aspect of her life very clear. One day, a woman devotee said to Holy Mother, "Now, so many men and women are calling you mother, mother, and disturbing you. Though we are not born from your womb, that does not mean we are not your children." Holy Mother immediately stood up. I mean, was she agitated? Maybe we could say she was deeply stirred. She said firmly, "What did you just say? That you were not born from my womb? Then from whose womb were you born? Are you not my children? Then whose children are you? Is there any mother other than me? I exist in all women and in all mothers. Those who come to me from any place are all my children. Know it for sure and certain. Those who come to me calling me mother, they are all my children." Ooh, what a revelation. She had been saying this all the time, but who listened? So now she made it crystal clear. All people everywhere on this planet are her very own children. They are her children. They were her children. They will be her children. And that means also all people everywhere on this planet are our sisters and brothers. Nowadays, we find so many divisions in society, divisions between rich and poor, divisions by race and ethnicity, divisions along religious beliefs and political beliefs. We have got to beware of falling into this trap of seeing divisions. The whole world is our own family. And now we know it through Holy Mother. It goes without saying, in our Vedanta centers, we are welcoming and loving to everyone, no matter what race, gender, nationality, or anything else people are. We all share the same ideals. I see this all over in all the Vedanta centers I go to. But as far as our society goes, we can all see what is happening now. And we can see that it is more and more imperative that we show an open and loving heart for all. Whether we are women or men, it doesn't matter. Men can have a loving, motherly heart just as well as women. Look at Swami Atmagyanananda. He's the mother of this place. But now for us, we should maintain this attitude not only in our Vedanta centers, but also in our communities. We talk about seeing God in all, but can we just sit and let the impoverished God suffer? Holy Mother would pray with tears in her eyes when she'd see the monks go out for doing welfare work, for famine relief. She would be praying with tears in her eyes. So seeing others as Narayanas and Narayanis is not easy, I know. Yet, surely through Holy Mother, we can at least regard them as sisters and brothers. Now, I know many of us are not in a position to go out regularly to volunteer at soup kitchens and the like. And I know many of you volunteer here at the center, too. You do a lot of hard work here. We can, however, contribute money or food to these places. That itself is a big help. But let me tell you something from my own small experience. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to join a church group in Raleigh, North Carolina, whose members volunteer to distribute meals one day a month for Meals on Wheels. It was an eye-opener. Generally, different churches or religious groups in the area share the responsibility for distributing these meals every day. One church will have the responsibility for 1 or 2 days a month, and another church or religious group will do it another day or two of the month, like that. It's very well organized, and it's a huge responsibility. So the volunteers cannot be flaky about it. That is, 1 month do it and the next month not. But the volunteers that I incredibly sincere and earnest about it, and that itself was very inspiring to see. In fact, one of the volunteers was a man in his 90s. But when it came to actually bringing the food to the homes and giving it to the people, it was moving beyond words. The love and gratefulness that the recipients of this food showed towards these volunteers was overwhelming. And you can see with your own eyes how very much these recipients need this food. Again, you can see with your own eyes how circumstances beyond their control have pushed them to this poverty and keep them in it. It makes you angry. It makes you want to cry. So many emotions go through the mind. And I think, these are our own sisters and brothers. So for the Vedanta work in the future, based on Holy Mother's life, we could have a twofold approach. First, and I can say that here too, that this is already happening. First, we maintain a strong emphasis on spiritual practices and pursuing earnestly and steadfastly the goal of God realization. This is not for bragging purposes. It's not to feel superior. It's for transformation, transforming ourselves first and then inspiring others. If this transformation does not make us more humble and loving, then it is not the transformation of Vedanta and of Ramakrishna and Holy Mother. We are so close to the source. The power is still so much there, but if we don't use it, we lose it. The power will still be there, but we won't get the benefit. It's like a radio waves. We have to tune into the right channel in order to get to that radio station. So whether it is self-realization through jnana yoga or God realization through bhakti yoga, it doesn't matter. But we all must understand that this is a tremendous heritage and we cannot waste it. We are doing these spiritual practices not only for ourselves, but also for the future. Again, these practices are not only for finding peace within ourselves, but also for contributing peace towards peace in society. We should be transformed. That peace, the peace of Holy Mother, should be manifest in our lives. Then second, the Vedanta Center should make it a point to reach out regularly and give service to our sisters and brothers in need or in distress. Most centers, I understand, are already doing something on this line. This is a good way to remind us that the whole world is our own family. And to try to, and that it's a good way to help us manifest Holy Mother's love for all. Can we solve the problems of the world this way? No. The world is a dog's curly tail. We can never straighten it out. So what does this service do? It softens our hearts. The Lord cannot manifest in a hard heart. It is only in the softened, pure heart that the Lord can manifest. And then we can truly feel the joy of being Holy Mother's children, her transformed children.
No, I introduced him earlier.
Okay.
Position, eso aqui, mano. revered senior Swamijis, Mataji, brother monks, devotees and friends. Greetings to each one of you on behalf of the devotees from Brazil. They always remember the devotees wherever they are, be in USA or be in India or be anywhere. And I am extremely thankful to Swami Atmajnanandaji for this invitation to participate in this important function. You have heard so many times about 125th year of the Ramakrishna order and 25 years of the center and 10 years of the opening of this temple. Our Brazil center also is going to somewhere nearby. It's in 24 years, 1 year later. So 25th year we will be celebrating next year. And another thing, I am doubly happy because the center was found on the Ram Navami Day. I also joined the order, Ramakrishna order on Ram Navami Day. So it's doubly happy for me. And before I go further, I would like to remember revered Swami Swahananda Maharaj, his courage, contribution, and his vision. It is extremely wonderful to be with him, even for a few minutes. It is an encouraging. It's a feeling that's very different from other things. You can feel that what he wants. No doubt, he likes expansion of the activities. Immediately you remember expansion is life, contraction is death. So he is all the time, he is ready to do something expanding the message of the Vedanta to its best or whatever it may be. He was ready, always. So once he had, I think, heart problem. And the doctor told him, you should not travel. And he said, what will happen? If you travel, you will die. And then he said, if I travel, I will die. If I lie down, then also I will die. So better I will do the work and then die. These are all look simple, but there is a great meaning behind it. So you come here, both the devotees and swamis, to dedicate. In the dedication, there is a great joy. Whoever it may be, whether east or west, doesn't matter. In dedication, there is a joy that we have to find out. So, on behalf of you and on behalf of the devotees who are hearing in the online, I convey my respectful pranams to revered Swami Swahanandaji for his contribution. And that is only one part. His success is now carrying on. And to whom did he give this owners of this place from the scratch? To Swami Atmajnanandaji. He knew that he could carry the cross on his shoulder. And during the last 24 years, what happened? You are seeing it. I need not have to explain it. You are seeing it, we are feeling it, and I am thankful to be here on this day. It is not a kind of mutual appreciation or something like that, but a genuine expression of how a person could transform to realize. It is not a small thing. But still, there is no satisfaction because we want to expand more and more and more. Who will not like? A father and mother would like to see their son and daughter better than themselves. That is where the joy is. So similarly, we also would like to see. We like to see more centers. We like to see all the family members of the devotees are happy. They are well in their position. We like to see in their happiness, we are very happy. That is how we look at it. So the devotee's role in these expansion activities, on one part, the monks, they have. On the other side, the devotees have equal part. Swami Atmagyanji, not alone he did it, with a group of devotees, with a group of more and more devotees, new devotees. So the help from not only here, elsewhere, so it has come into force. There is always a group of devotees, the stronger the better, the more number the better, and with the help of the Swami. Both together should move forward. It is not Swami alone will do things, he will preach, rest of them will. No, you have the potentiality to take the message of Thakurma Swamiji to anyone. You see the Catholic churches or Protestant churches, who are they? All of them are monks? Not necessarily. There were so many householders who have taken the vow of spreading the message of Christ, for example. We can do that also. You can do convincingly the way you understood. So it is a question of sharing the responsibility, both the monks as well as the devotees. Now, the title he has given, he was very generous enough, Swami. So the future of the Vedanta in the West. Well, I'm not so much an experienced person in the work of the Vedanta in the West as such. When you say West, mostly in USA or Canada or other places. But I am in the West, but somewhere it is very less known, down south in Latin America, or more particularly South America. So what I'm going to share with you is from this point of view. At the same time, what I have learned here during my visits. Now I have gone to all the centers, almost all the centers. So what I felt that I am going to share. And I will just take first one ideal or one important ideal of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swamiji. And I will try to explain a couple of important points in that, because that has connection with the following idea with Swamiji also. So Sri Ramakrishna said, God realization, the goal of life. As soon as you hear this, what does it mean for you? It is impossible, very distant. It doesn't make much impact on you, though you appreciate, oh, he has given. But what does it make to you? Did you think about it? Did you try about it? Did you discuss about it? God realization, I don't know. What is God? Where is God? Whether he or she or it, I don't know. But he says he is the goal of human life. So if we do not know this God as such, then next best is our spiritual ideal, Sri Ramakrishna. He can tell you. You take him as the ideal. I want to know what you spoke. I want to know how you did this. I don't know. You please tell me. I don't know where you are, what you are. Sri Ramakrishna taught once how to pray. He said, if you don't know how to pray, just that point itself you take it and pray. I do not know whether you are a man or woman. O God, O Mother, Divine Mother, please reveal unto me. If you do it with your heart, it is bound to get the answer. So instead of God realization, no, we like to instill Sri Ramakrishna in our heart, our Holy Mother, our Swamiji, and make it as a dynamic force in your life. Not like just some kind of image and then you worship and no. It becomes part of your daily life. That is where your faith converts into conviction. With the conviction you speak, it will be very different. So instead of God relation, okay, it's too high. But then Sri Ramakrishna said, and there are monks who are telling us about this, and let me go and explain. And when you do that, slowly, certain things will happen. What will happen? And next step, Sri Ramakrishna himself says, if you want to realize God, there are two things you have to do. So I always go to this point first. What is that? Purity of mind and heart. Again, there is another word, purity. What is this purity? We don't know. Every day and night you read that. I also had this problem. And then one day I decided to see what is this purity means. It's a vacant mind or mind without thoughts? I like to know. Then when I searched, a devotee asked the same question to Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna replied. And he is the master in every doubt. Master, when will all the confusion come to an end? He has the answer. So similarly, the devotee asked, what is this purity of heart and mind means? He said, God consciousness. If you have the God consciousness in your mind, in your heart, that automatically makes your mind and heart purify until that purified mind and heart reflects what is the reality. God Himself will reveal unto you. So it is your part is to purify this mind and heart through consciousness of Sri Ramakrishna or Holy Mother or Swamiji, that which is tangible for us. It is available. He has made already all the plates ready. Only you have to eat. That's all he said. So he has done it, his part. If we can go towards this point, okay, purity means God consciousness. Now God consciousness means consciousness of Sri Ramakrishna, about his life, about his teachings. Every word will make the meaning different. One word is sufficient to meditate for the whole day. It is a question of how you approach. So that meaning will take you towards higher and higher ideals. When completely purified, that is ready for reflection of the truth. You don't have to create a God, you don't have to create an image, something like that. It will reflect itself what is true and what is permanent and what will it do? It will reveal. Suppose a person has attained this quality of purity. What will happen? Reflection of your true nature, as Swamiji says. As a body, you know. As a name and form, you know what you are. With your relationship with others, what you know you are. Your capacity. Beyond all this, there is a state of being which we do not know. That will be revealed only when you have attained a certain high degree of purity of the mind and heart, not before. And before that, of course, there is another question. There are so many obstacles. I am not going to touch the point, but only this I want to express. What will it reveal? It will reveal the true nature of your being. Why I am telling all this? Because it is going to have the connection with the further idea that I am going to touch. It will reveal to you, what is that? Infinite existence, infinite knowledge, again the same problem, the word infinite. I don't know. What is that infinite? Normally our mind thinks in terms of length and breadth and height, in linear terms. Does it mean like that? As if he is there from here to 20,000, 200,000, 5 million miles? No. This question arose in me some years ago, and I found the answer different. What is that? It means no condition, unconditional of anything. As a body, you are conditioned. As a mind, it is conditioned. The nature of the mind is conditioned. It can start and it will end in the past or in the future. So it's always conditioned. So your nature, true nature, what you call Atman or Brahman, whatever it may be, it is infinite, without any condition of any sort. Your nationality, your religion, your birth, your even death, no condition at all. So that immediately I felt that is something wonderful. I never knew that it is called our process is deconditioning process. Your meditation, your coming here, your prayer, and filling the mind and heart with God consciousness is nothing but a process of deconditioning. It will come to you naturally. Oh, this is the process. This is how the spirituality works. Religion, as a religion you started, but slowly the spirituality begins to work. You have a nature, spiritual nature, which is not known. So Vedanta is a science of knowing yourself in depth. Who will do it for you? On your part you have to do. That is making the mind pure, making your heart pure. And the rest he will do it. That is where Sri Ramakrishna plays a vital point. I don't know who his God is, but I know this much. 150, 120, 25 years ago, he was here. He has answered all the doubts, all the questions. Enough. There was another great sage and saint, Ramana Maharshi, they lived about 60, 70 years ago, he died. And you go on reading the words of these personalities and hear them, see them, and it makes a lot of difference. Completely. Spirituality starts with various doubts and confusion, but finally it leads you towards what you are in reality. Swami Vivekananda again and again said, you are not this small body-mind complex. It is not wrong to have the body consciousness. It is not wrong to have the thoughts. It is not wrong to have the emotions. But don't limit it. Don't put a limit to, I am only this. No, much more than this. Body, mind, much more than this. More than thoughts, more than emotions, more than my identification with certain things. Beyond that also. And finally what happens? You realize your true nature. Anyone. It does not ask for whether you are a Christian or a Hindu or a Muslim. When you realize, what happens? Now comes the third question. Suppose a person realizes, what happens? Ask intelligent questions and intelligent answers, you will get it. When a person realizes, the first thing is, he is free from any kind of suffering forever. No suffering can touch. An illumined soul cannot be touched by any kind of suffering. Buddha said that. All the great sages and said that. Even Sri Ramakrishna was apparently suffering from cancer for us, but he himself was so much singing and dancing in the name of Divine Mother. So all suffering goes first. So I ask the question, if I go to that state, what do I gain? First of all suffering goes, number one. Number two, all the doubts and confusion comes to an end forever, not temporarily. Sometimes you may do things and then temporarily your confusion is gone, but then it comes again. But there the realization takes away all the confusion and doubt forever. Third, it brings a peace that is unknown to us. We think we are peaceful. We know only the peace in the symmetry. No, we know the peace of the symmetry. No. There is another kind of peace which nobody can take away from you. It goes deep within you. It is there always. It is sleeping. We are not able to get near to it. So the process of purity makes you get near it and you feel the peace. Oh, this is what they spoke. This is what they realized. This is what they want us to realize. So, peace that then comes, the fourth point is, it gives an enormous strength, spiritual strength, physical strength, mental strength, emotional strength, but the spiritual strength is the basis of all this strength. A person can feel that strength. Well, you may ask, Swami, whether you are talking about all this, do you know, you have realized, you may ask. Somebody may be thinking like that. Before your question comes, I will answer you. The speaker does not have doubt about it, what I am saying. The speaker does not have doubt about this. Pass through this, at least you will have indications of what is going to happen. You don't have to go on searching for all the experiences. If I touch you, touch your hand, I have touched you fully, is it not? So similarly, you will have all the indications of what is to come. That's enough. What will happen that? It will convert your faith into conviction. With that conviction, you speak. That's what people want. People ask, is there someone who have experienced samadhi illumination here? I want to talk to that person. Where is the person? Can you speak with conviction? That is one of the essential points here I can tell you. The first generation, like Swami Prabhupada or Ashokananda, for example, or Nikhilananda, when they spoke with conviction. They knew it. They were inspired by it. They understood what they were speaking. And they gave a meaning, they give life to it. So spiritual practice, when I tell always, give life to that. Make it dynamic in your life, part of the dynamic in your life. You will be living in a different state of experience. It is possible. Physically, mentally, you may be limited. But with these kind of ideas, you acquire certain. Rather, He gives you the power. The Lord does not select the powerful ones. He selects persons and gives the power to him. That is how it works. It may be anyone. It may be you, or it may be me, or anybody outside. So He selects the person and gives power to him, and then goes ahead with his mission. It's not that, who is highly qualified, I want. No, that doesn't work with Him. He sees your heart. If your heart is full of love for Him, full of thirst for realization, ready to give up anything and everything just to have His vision, that's enough. He sees your heart more than anything else. So therefore, why I am teaching these 2-3 vital points, when I cleared, I found I myself very wonderful in the spiritual path. I don't have to go back again and ask this person, that person. Many bridges you walk through and then burn the bridges forever. Spiritual practice is like that. Meditation practice is like that. You walk through a bridge and then you burn the bridge, you never come back again. So spiritual practice is like that. So more and more. And the effect is what? As I told you, the 4. The 5th one, you get some kind of strength that is unknown, what I told you. And finally, the clarity about life itself. What is life? What is death? Who is dying? Where is fear? Is there any reason to be afraid of? All these become clear at one stroke. At least in our case, it is less and less and less as the days go by. That means you are knocking the door and it will open today or tomorrow. Now, therefore, the same idea was put by Swamiji. Now come to the Swamiji. Swamiji wanted a few men and women of this type. That's why I was explaining to you, Swami did not want a crowd like this. He wants, give me a handful of men and women with this kind of purity of mind and heart and courage. He always added this word, courage. And I will shake the world to its foundations, he said. It's full of meaning for us. Okay, I am not able to go to that extent. At least I can try to do this. So if you want to contribute, if you want to do for Sri Ramakrishna's mission, Holy Mother's mission here, we have to give to these kind of things. To give and see for ourselves that yes, it works. Spirituality works, meditation works, and all the spiritual things that he taught, it is true. What Christ said, Buddha said, Sri Ramakrishna said, they are all true. I know it for certain, and you speak convincingly to those people. Whether it's a monk or devotee, it doesn't matter. It works. It can be conveyed many, many ways. Maybe with silence also it can be conveyed. The heart is full. silence, but silence is touching the heart of the other person. How do you know that you are in front of a holy man? The power of silence that he can convey to you. Not a word necessary, not a lecture necessary, but you feel that silence. You feel that peace of mind. You feel that peace of heart. Here is what I was looking for. But then you go out of the place and then everything comes back again. So therefore, what we have to understand is, we are spiritual first, body, mind next. To put it in a very short time. We are spiritual first and body, mind next. I remember one interesting thing is, in the Hollywood Center, there was one Bill. I don't know his full name. And he became a Chaitanya, Shiva Chaitanya later on, I think. Maybe, I am talking about Shiva Chaitanya. There was one. Anyway, so Swahananda Maharaj, he told me that he one day called a Bill, he had his monastic training and then he got a brahmacharya. After brahmacharya, one day he was sitting outside and then Swami Swahananda, "Hey Bill, come, Bill." No answer. He was hearing. There was no answer. And then he said, "Oh Shiva." Immediately he got up and then new identification. I am Shiva now and I'm not Bill anymore. So like that, you have to approach sincerely with love and affection, with a sense of learning, sense of humility. True humility comes as you go nearer and nearer to yourself. True humility comes. Here is the fact. In front of Him, in front of the Lord, I am full of humility. Not that humility that you see in the world. It is based on something else. But true humility comes when we go very near to our spiritual reality. So you come back. There is nothing changes. As Holy Mother says, no two horns are born. The same person, everything is same. But the transformation has happened from inside out. Completely different. So with this conviction, Sri Ramakrishna then, Swami comes, Swamiji says, "Give me a handful of such men and women, I will shake the world." So our mission here is to prepare ourselves to be the men and women what Swami Vivekananda wanted. I am ready to do everything. It is not just only monks. Anybody can do it in your own way. Maybe a small instrument, doesn't matter. But this kind of clarity of thinking makes you more stronger. With conviction, you go with the mission of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swamiji, whether it is east or west, doesn't matter. It happens there. It happens in Brazil, for example. So therefore, now coming to the Swamiji, when someone asked him, Swami, whether he wanted to introduce the Hindu ritual ceremonies, etc., he said, "No, I have come here only to teach Upanishads, philosophy, highest philosophy." It doesn't exclude, but then if there is a need, you can do it. But then, important point is that he wanted to give the best of what India can give us. So he says, what is his mission? To put Hindu ideas into English and then make out of dry philosophy and intricate mythology and queer startling psychology a religion which shall be easy, simple and popular at the same time meet the requirements of the highest minds. This was his mission. Swami said, it is a task which only those who can understand who have attempted it. And he was just explaining his own experience. He attempted, he did, and that is what his mission is. His mission started with these kind of things. He tried he gave the best of what he wanted to do for the West. He had the best of his life in the West. So he saw West does not need much of the material things, they have already enough. He saw the Shakti is very powerful here. So he said, my idea was to put a simple, easy, popular, at the same time, without compromising the highest ideals. The abstract Advaita must become living, poetic in everyday life. How can I make everyday life spiritual? How can I give you a touch of spirituality in my work? For example, I am full of work. People ask me, I have so much of work. I don't know how to practice this. I said, do you understand music? Yes. See, without pass, the music doesn't become very fine, beautiful. Music needs certain pass, P-A-U-S-E. Similarly, your work needs certain pass. That is maybe 1 minute meditation, maybe repetition of name, maybe just recollection of your mantra. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. The work becomes spiritualized. In the beginning you do it. During the course of time you concentrate completely. At the end of it, there will be results and offer them mentally. Sri Ramakrishna says it all depends upon your mind. You offer mentally. So you are free all the time. In the beginning of the work you are free. During the work you are free. At the end of the work also you are free. You are a free person all the time. You are here to play a role and you play it well. So therefore work is not an obstacle. It is the idea of I am the doer is the obstacle. Thought is not the obstacle. So you get hold of the thinker and it stops. Because there is thinker, there are so many thoughts. You ask, where is the thinker? Where does he come from? Why do you bother me? So therefore work is not an obstacle. Because we are all engaged day and night work. So we have to know how to change, how to give a spiritual touch to this work. That was one of the biggest challenge I faced when I began about 45 years ago. And I got the answer and I apply the answer almost on a daily basis. And it works very well. What I am telling you, I am sharing what I know for certain. Okay. So he says, out of hopelessly intricate mythology must come out concrete moral forms. And out of bewildering yogism must come the most scientific and practical psychology. And all these must be put into a form a child can grasp. This is my life's work. Sri Ramakrishna, very defined, very clear. This is my life work. And we are here in His name. And you are here in His name. So how can I join your army? How can I help? Or not even, how can I serve? I am here ready. So that is how we approach. That is one point. That is why I say these ideals and ideas of Sri Ramakrishna Holy Mother Swamiji, we have to put into practice and see and prepare ourselves the ideal men and women Swami Vivekananda wanted. That's fine. Now, how to translate in the West? Now, here I am going to say something from my experience in Brazil, because I think whatever worth for it, you can take it. And the one thing that I see in this country that we have to follow is your own method. You see, each country has its own culture, its own habits, or its own manners and customs, its own values. If you want to work in the West, we have to know this first. You have to translate the message of Swamiji not according to the way you want. We have to understand their culture, understand their language, understand their traditions, understand their manners and customs, and we can translate. If you don't know, it doesn't work. This I have seen there. So there was, to give you an example, you all know the Citibank. You all know the international, multinational bank, HSBC. You know. They were there, and it went on for some years, and first they closed, and they wound up, the Citibank wound up, and then sold there to another bank and went away. I was a little bit curious. They were all multinational, international banks. Why they are not able to do business there? Then HSBC, there I knew one man. He was from London. I asked him, why you are closing your business here? You are a multinational company, huge, maybe third or fourth in the world. Why are you finding it difficult business? Because I wanted to learn something from him. He said, he said, you see, we don't know how to do business the way Brazilians do business. Brazilian way. Jeito brasileiro. I got a point, right? Here is a point. Jeito brasileiro means the way you work, knowing their culture, knowing their values, knowing their dialects, knowing their communication system, knowing the public. They did not do. So this man said, he was a high official in HSBC. He said, we are not able to work in the way, Brazilian way or other. So similarly, you have an American way, you have a Peruvian way, you have an Indian way, you have a Brazilian way. If you want to do work in the West, I would say this is one of the most essential points. Swami Prabhupada, I think, I'm sure about it, or Ashokanandaji, for example, he knew what these people are capable of receiving. How? He did not at the time say, you start rituals, and he did not say. But then, where it is needed, we will do. But he could get across the public. He could communicate in the way they like. There is a person who talks about Vedanta, a Brazilian lady. I always like to hear her first, the way how she does it. Because she knew what the Brazilian way. She could give example much better than I do. So what did I do after learning all these things? I had a project myself, not yet executed, but I am going to do that. I wanted some Brazilians who have been practicing this Vedanta for some years, who are capable of communicating, articulating very well. You please come. We will train you, we will exchange you, and you do in your own way. Because you are speaking to your people. You know how to do that better than me. So we have a project like this to call from each city one person and then give them training, and let us see how it works. This is how we learn. It is a continuous, this is how we learn. Even the learning a language is a service to Sri Ramakrishna. That's how I see it. It is not that I know the language. No. If I learn, then I can speak to them in their language. Similarly here, I think early Swamis, including Swami Chetananand, I think when he came, he was given training by an TV actress, I think, how to speak, how to do. Otherwise, years and years we are here. If you don't know how to communicate with the public, with the other people, then we will feel somewhat lacking. There are many who can beautifully speak, but when you combine your experiences and translate them into language that is the person can understand, then it works very well. It does work, no doubt about it. Therefore, it never occurs to an American, there might be something he cannot do or achieve. You see, if you see an American, he will never say, even if it is March or even if it is anywhere, he is ready to do that. He loves challenges. Every American loves challenges. He is taught like that. So therefore, there is nothing that he might be thinking, he cannot do, or as American. I'm quoting from Sister Gargi's play. Yeah. The spirit of self-confidence that Swamiji called for is already ingrained in American psychology. You don't have to teach. He has already. Only you have to go. Now, the daring, fearless spirit of the pioneer and frontiersman is in their blood. Thus, when Swamiji calls for man to have faith in himself, when he calls for a religion based on the infinite glory of the true self, that is called Atman, it is not hard for Westerners to understand. They do understand. Only you can throw a challenge. Vedanta can throw a challenge to the man. You see, there is an infinite aspect of a being. Do you know? You can do anything and everything, but there is an infinite aspect of your being is there. Do you know? Can you realize? Let us see. We want to see an American entered into Samadhi, having the power of communicating. This way you can challenge, and he has all the challenges. He is ready to take up all the challenges. This is American spirit is independence, complete independence. Does not want to depend on anybody. So therefore, it's not something for Westerners to understand. We feel at home with such a religion. She says, in an American sister Gari, she says, we feel at home with Swamiji. Only Swamiji wanted such men, such women, and there are certainly our Swamis, successive Swamis and of the centers, they have done enormously, very well, excellent, because of their dedication, sacrifice, what we are today. But then, if you want to go further, there are certain things, knowing their culture, knowing their values, knowing their ways and manners and customs, and respecting them. It is one of the important points they told me in the beginning. Sometimes you may not agree with that values. I may not agree with certain values of the Brazilians, but I must respect them. Okay, it's for you, but I don't have to adopt it. So similarly, we can learn. We just go and then try to find what the society means. Swamiji understood, and he gave it fully. Similarly, we can do it. It is not impossible, but it may be challenging, but it's possible. We feel happy in the challenge. So, oh, it is already gone. Oh, sorry. Anyway, I'm coming to the point, closing up the point, because I have other points, we'll take it there. See, when we understand, when we try to understand,
you can
his...
have the points, you should not be deprived of the points. That's the point.
When we try to understand his teachings and to follow them, we do not in any way feel that we are going against, that is the observation of this person. We are not going anywhere against them. Rather, they are trying to know, they are very eager to know what the challenge you have, and we will do it. So this is one thing. And of course, Swamiji talked about what is the vision of Vedanta in the West, the future of the religion. He says, if Vedanta, this conscious knowledge that all is one spirit, he did not say about brotherhood, universal brotherhood. He says oneness of the being. There is a great difference. Universal brotherhood, many people talk, but oneness of the being is what Swami Vivekananda said. So this conscious knowledge, experiential knowledge, that all is one spirit, spreads, the whole humanity will become spiritual. But is it possible? He answers, I do not know. Not within thousands of years. The old superstition must run out. Every nation has its own superstition. It must run out so that new ideas can enter. You are all interested in how to perpetuate all your superstitions, but not necessarily. Now, remove all the superstition and go for these ideas and plunge it deeper into it, and you see the difference. It can work. It is not impossible. When Swamiji has given his utmost in spreading the message of Vedanta to the West, and quite a lot is left to us to do it. So with this, I'll stop here now, and we will continue in some opportunity. Thank you.
We don't have to stick to our schedule. The only thing left is tea and coffee, snacks, and then 6 o'clock. So we can take a little extra time. So now we can all take our seats here now. No, it's okay. And we have some still time to write out questions.
Give everything to Mataji.
Oh my. I don't.
Okay, this is directed to me, so I can start. First of all, this point, he or she, very good point. If the flow of immigrants stops in U.S., it is difficult for Vedanta Center or Chinmay Mission, we can say others also, to sustain all of its activities. There's one feeling that the Vedanta work in the West, if it's not among the American people, that it's a failure. I very much reject that idea. I understand that we do want to reach the non-Indian people, but I'm equally happy whoever comes here. In the very early days, many Indians would come to our Vedanta centers just for cultural reasons, because that was the only place they would meet other Indians, have food that they liked, speak the same language. Swami Prabhavanandaji, he used to forbid them to come, even. He said, no, our work is among the local people here. Things have changed. Things have changed that way. And I think the future of the movement has to be based on the demographics of the country, how that's also changing. And yeah, let me finish reading this. Your point of deleting certain parts of old text is very correct. Even in India, yeah, I was saying how, especially young American girls and with feminism and everything, but I think everybody, all women, feel a little funny with this comedy content thing. Even in India, yeah, people can accept. Okay, whether we accept or not, we need to address evils of casteism. Okay, how do we learn to avoid casteism or racism? Community outreach. Yeah, all we have to do is put into practice this idea of seeing the divinity within all beings. Then to see everything else is just an outer covering. And to feel that oneness with everyone, then who cares about nationality and race, religion, and all of these things? It's a completely secondary thing. And even if we can't say that, yes, this is the same self dwelling with all beings, at least recognize the humanity of everyone and the dignity of everyone. And who cares about the language and customs and cultures and things? Even from a very ordinary human standpoint, we all have the same desires and longings and dreams and hopes and successes and failures. We should feel oneness with everyone just based on that. And if we can't do that, then how can we say we're Vedantists? This is a very crucial point. that we should be able to go anywhere in the world and feel oneness with the people there. Because we feel that same divinity and that same humanity within everyone. Okay, next question.
Please explain the difference between japa and meditation. Japa is the repetition of the name of the Lord. By continuously doing this, first, generally we start just repeating the name of the Lord. Then we add, thinking of the form of the Lord. And as you go on repeating the name and thinking of the form, then this turns into meditation. And gradually the japa becomes deeper and flows on continuously, and the meditation on the form becomes deeper, and then this itself turns it turns into meditation as you do the japa. But you have to continue this for a long time. And how to develop sincerity in sadhana? By practicing the japa and meditation, and doing it. I'm not quite sure what you mean by sincerity in sadhana, but as you continue doing the japa, you get a taste for it. And then that itself will bring more, sincerity, you might say. And how to cope with times when you lose taste in spiritual life and sadhana. I think the best way is to read the biographies of Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and other saints too. See how they struggled and the disciples of Ramakrishna too, how they struggled in their life, and that will give you inspiration too.
The slips given to me is more of statements from the persons rather than questions. They like to comment maybe, I don't know. But there is one thing that says, in a nutshell, 3 premises of Vedanta are oneness of the spirit, divinity of the soul, harmony of religions. Please throw light on oneness of the spirit. This oneness of the spirit is an experiential knowledge. It should be an experience you cannot describe in words. For example, just to give an example, when your child or when some of the family members suffer, what do you feel? You feel one with that person, your child or your mother, father, or you feel one with them. That feeling, when it extends to anyone who suffers in the world. To give an example, in Swamiji's life, he was sleeping one day with his brother disciples in Belur Math. Perhaps it was at 2 o'clock in the dead of night. One of the brother disciples woke up and saw Swamiji was missing on the bed. And he went outside and saw Swamiji was walking to and fro on the veranda of the Belur Math. Then the brother disciple asked him, "What happened, Swamiji? Did you not get sleep?" "No, I was sleeping, but suddenly I felt that's a great pain in my heart. That somewhere calamities happened, and thereafter I could not sleep any further. So I am thinking of that. Rather, with that experience, I woke up and I could not sleep anymore." The next day it was found at the same time there was an earthquake in a very distant land, and which affected him, and he could not sleep. And then they asked, "How did you feel that?" I said, "If you have the nerves as fine as mine, you will also feel that. So that is oneness of the feeling. You see? Yeah. In Sri Ramakrishna's life, he was lying down on the cot. Suddenly he asked, the devotees were there in front. He said, go out and then see, is there someone just hopping on the lawn very heavily? Literally, somebody went outside and saw one man was hopping on the lawn very heavy, with heavy steps, and he felt painful in his heart. So this oneness of the spirit is an experiential knowledge. One has to reach there and experience. Then it's possible to realize, rather than explain in so many things. So at the most we can go to Buddha or Sri Ramakrishna or Swamiji, how they did it. So we have to make our nerves as fine as theirs. That was one thing. Rest of them looks like statements. Expansion, quiet. Maharaji, can you make out any of them? I think it's all statements.
Sorry.
What are some things we can do without impinging on other organization? Well, we don't have to worry about other organization or other individuals. Rather, we should feel happy about it. Take what is best in them. We don't have to go and say, oh, this is not wrong, that is not wrong. That is not our business. So wherever there is some good, we take it. Wherever there is you don't like it, better not to comment on it. So that you will feel peaceful first by seeing good in others and then go ahead with your mission. So your goodness has the potential value of spreading by itself. So we don't have to worry about what other organizations do or not, they don't do. We don't have to develop a kind of jealousy, individual or organizational. No. We go with our own conviction. That is much more effective. Rather, if somebody does, oh, you are doing it, at least you are spreading the name of God. That's quite fine. People tell about the dancing in the street and repeating. Look at this, at least he is spreading the name of God, it's all right. So in that way, Swami Swahananda Maharaj was very generous. In anything, see good in them and leave it, leave the rest of it. We don't have to worry about them. So how can we devotees do to welcome newcomers without making them uncomfortable? Yeah. That is, I think, the best person to answer is our Swami Atmajnananda ji, because he has the greatest experience here. I can tell what Brazilians do and then how I do. I must, first thing, I make a friendship, friendly. Whether he is a long hair, whether he is a hippie, or whether he has any kind of things, I don't want to make anything what you were or what you are going to be. What you are, that's enough. You are seeking something, I give you value to your what you are, without digging your past or without looking for turning to your future. No, I take as it is. That's the first step. And immediately you feel that, oh, this person, here is someone who can hear me. Here is someone who can at least give me a little few minutes. So it's a great sacrifice. So in the beginning I said, I don't have anything. Any time you can call me, any time you can call and then have an appointment, whatever it is, in the beginning. Of course, American way is different. It works differently. So each nation has its own way. But if you touch the person, just like our Swami Sarvadevananda Maharaj, with all love and affection, whether it's small or big or this or that, and everyone feels very comfortable. Our monks here in the West are each and every one, the nuns, they have been dedicating their life to the maximum possible. So devotees also can do. When you go and approach, you have to tell them, you have touched a point very important. I will tell you one incident. It was in London. So there was an Indian devotee, Indian origin devotee. She is very much fond of the Ramakrishna Vivekananda. So she told her British friends, you see, we are going to have a retreat. Would you like to come? So she was wearing little white clothes, to make it very clear that they are going to retreat. So the British friends, at least 4 or 5 girls, they were ready. They were very eager to participate in a retreat. So they were all ready, everything. All the 5 went to that retreat. As soon as they entered into the retreat, they saw all participants, men and women, with the finest clothes, like as if they are going to the fashion show. Each and every, with jewelries and wines and everything, and talking in their own language. What happened? All the 4 or 5 girls never came back. Look at this. It is an example. That girl was disappointed. Said, I took with all seriousness, and they were very eager, but going there, it's all a different scenery. It was not a retreat like. So there is something to learn from them. Okay, their expectation is like that. So there maybe next time, I said, next time you can make it different. But that is how we learn.
This is also not exactly questions to read out, but there are interesting points that I'll try to address. One is this sense of community when we come to our Vedanta Center. We're not a church. We're not going to be the type of place where a church, they'll have people who their only job is to welcome new people and to increase their membership. We have to recognize that we have some distinctive features here that we're really trying to go deep within. A lot of these religious organizations that don't have that same emphasis, everything will be on the social type of programs and group prayer and everything. We don't do that type of group prayer, community things. Our emphasis is really going deep within. So our expectations should be a little bit different. We don't want anybody to feel that they're not welcome here. But we have our own niche a little bit. One of the points here was about some of the other organizations, Chinmay Mission, and the Bal Vihar, all of the different groups. They do tremendous work. And this is their niche. This is what they do, and we're grateful that they do it. This is not exactly what we do. We've done a lot of work with kids, with a youth group and summer camp and everything. But we know this is their main focus, and it's good. We're grateful to them for that. So we all have our own different needs and different areas that we involve ourselves in. And this idea of a feeling of community, those who come here have to bear some responsibility also. Many people come with this idea that it should be tailored toward my needs. And we'll have many people who come that say, oh, too many Bengalis, too many Indians, too many this, too many that. So how is that our fault? We have to sometimes understand that the people who come also have to be open and make an effort. We have a tremendous sense of community here. But it has to be those who are willing to overlook some things that may be a little different culturally and everything, and to go a little bit deeper and to be open. There's one point here about language. Now, many people will come there, hear people speaking in a different language. Very often Bengali. Bengalis like to speak in Bengali. And sometimes they're completely oblivious to other people who don't understand Bengali. Now, I like to tell the Bengalis, please understand if there's some people who don't speak English, and everyone will understand English. But to those who come and complain, especially Hindi speakers and North Indian, those who speak North Indian languages, I say, learn Bengali. This is a sacred language. I'm serious. This is a sacred language. Look, if I can learn it, who had no background in any Indian language whatsoever, if I can learn it out of love of Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother, and out of longing to hear all the words that came out of their lips, their mouths, then all of you can do it, especially for Hindi speakers, Gujarati, any from North India, even South India. The vocabulary is so similar that make a little bit of an effort. It'll really enrich your appreciation of these divine personalities that we have. So everything works on two sides, that we ourselves have to be willing to compromise and be understanding, and not come in with too many types of expectations. It's not going to be a community center the way some churches are community centers. And for some people, they don't want it. They'll go into a church, everyone will go up and say, what is your name, and fill out a form, and we'll then hug each other and everything. They don't want that. They want to come and they want to be able to sit quietly and meditate and everything. So every place is a little bit different. We have to be understanding of everyone else, and everyone else has to be understanding of what the raison d'etre of the center is, what we're trying to accomplish here. And it's a balance. We want everyone to feel comfortable here, but we don't want to compromise. We don't want to lower the ideal. We don't want to water anything down. So it's a very difficult balance to do. And we have to make an effort on both sides, and we hope that the people who come here also, some people will come here and they'll look and see it, they'll see only Indians here, they'll never come again. They may be the people who are not the ones who have a good fit here, that's all. We're not going to attract everyone. One point that I wanted to make earlier, that when talking about the future of Vedanta and growth of Vedanta, is we'll never be a huge movement. And I don't think Swamiji thought that we would be. That we have a very high ideal. If we want to be really expand and grow, we may have to lower that ideal, and it's not worth it. And this is not to puff ourselves up that we're the elite people or anything like that, but it just seems to be a fact of life. That there was one incident in the life of Swami Ramakrishna. He was giving some talks in what was then Madras, and one of the other monks, or one of the devotees said, Swamiji, you only talk about renunciation. Who is going to come and listen to that? He said, what else did we hear from Sri Ramakrishna? So his point was that, yes, we'd love to attract everyone, but we won't water things down. We won't lower that ideal. We'll have a high ideal, and we won't reach everybody. We won't attract everyone. That's okay. That if we can change the lives, or at least be helpful, give some peace and comfort to those who come here, then we should be grateful for that much, and we should thank, for the grace of Thakur, Mother, Swami, that some people will get some joy and peace when they come here. But we have to maintain that high standard also. Yeah.
Just to continue, an information, we are translating the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna in Portuguese. It's ready, the first volume with 752 pages, and we have used Kama Kanchana, not Kamini Kanchana. I have consulted with the people, with the devotees, and then I compared with the translation in Kannada, in Indian languages, some of the Indian languages. So we are making it Kama Kanchana. Where it is extremely necessary, you use it Kamini. Otherwise, Kama Kanchana, common both for men and women. That is what Sri Ramakrishna said. So that it is ready for publication. Yeah. Even Sri Ramakrishna, even Swamiji said it will take 1,000 years to make it a mass movement. It will take 1,000 years, he said. Vedanta not for mass religion as such. Here is a question for Sarvadevananji Maharaj, but
Question for you.
why japa has to be 108 times and not any other? Maharaj, one seat is there for you here. So one way is it's a tradition. Okay, tradition comes down. Another way is some of the psychology or yoga psychology. They say there are 108 nerves and nerve points that is important. There are thousands and thousands, but among them, 108, that's what I'm not so much convinced about it, and I'm not bothered about this number also, to tell you frankly, because it is just a tradition that comes down, important, instead of doing nothing, 108 times, and then you go ahead, you multiply 1,000 times, and when it reaches a time when your mind can repeat without any count, it can go ahead. But I think when you talk to Maharaj, he will explain to you more.
So basically it is tradition. It's tradition.
Not tradition, some
Yeah, tradition I said first.
No, Kamaraj.
The idea is that when you write a check, you write 101. And when you give the price, you give 99.9. Satisfaction is that I have done something more.
একটু ফাও দিতে হয়. Okay, then this will conclude our panel discussion. We thank everybody for this. We have now 1 hour to have some refreshment. We'll meet here at 6 o'clock, and we'll have our Arati, a short meditation, and then 7 o'clock we'll begin with our musical concert tonight. So, thank you, everyone.